Hey, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. That's me. So we're going to do a full gear interactive pre-show analysis. Some of the matches. You'll see a lot of these coming out today. Probably watched a few already, but just here's my takes. And if you happen to be watching this live right now as I speaketh, you're welcome to throw a comment in. I did invite a friend of mine who's actually going to Full Gear tonight, but he may not have gotten the invite in time. But if he does check in, we'll talk to him about it. I'll also be doing the post show at some point. I'll probably do a live post show thread, and then Monty and the Pharaoh will have my weekly AEW apologist rant, which I'm actually going to save for after the pay per view, just because I think there'll be more to talk about. Um, my initial feelings. I did watch Dynamite. I did watch Rampage. I watched it this morning. I taped it last night. You know me. I like to do things at my own time. I like to flip through commercials. I thought the wrestling this week for AEW was pretty solid. I think the Eddie Kingston CM Punk storyline has been well developed. They're doing good things with that. And that'll get into my picks, because when you hear me talk about the Eddie Kingston CM Punk match, I might have a few surprise takes for it. The other thing with these prediction videos, it's always a question of, are you predicting what you think is going to happen or what you would like to see happen? If I was the booker, is the favorite game of us wrestling fans. If I had the pencil, what would I do in this situation? So I think I'll just try to, temper that. I'll tell you if there's a difference between what I think they will do and what they should do. Will and should. Will and should. Let's take a look now at this card of cards. The pre-show, interesting tag team match here. I'm not sure if there was a storyline development or not, with Nyla Rose teaming up with Jamie Hayter, who's one of Britt Baker's, girls, her backups, versus Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa. Now, my first thought here is, to be honest with you, I've enjoyed this Serena Deeb Hikaru Shida feud. They've had two matches. Hikaru got her 50th victory. But if you go back in your AEW weeks, if you haven't seen these two matches, I think one was on a Rampage and one was on a Dynamite, but they had two great matches. I kind of wish that Serena was in the mix here and on this card against Hikaru. Maybe like they could have the rubber match on the pay-per-view pre-show or on the actual pay-per-view. That being said, this tag match does not do much for me. I've got to think Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida have a lot more going for them than the other two. I'm hoping, no offense to Nyla, but she has injured people. She's kind of the Nia Jax of AEW. Jamie Hayter's good, but she's been in the shadows of Dr. Britt. Probably the best thing that could come for this pre-show match is some type of pushing and shoving between Nyla and Jamie Hayter. Nyla did have her issues with Dr. Britt, several months ago when Britt first won the women's title. I just got to think that Thunder Rosa is going to get the pinfall victory here over, let's say, Nyla Rose, and somehow Jamie Hayter and Nyla Rose do the old shove and push, blame each other for the loss, and maybe they could do something with Jamie Hayter getting a little bit of a mini program on her own, feuding with Nyla Rose for a match or two. But honestly, the Hikaru Shida is looking great these days. I think she looks better without the title than she did when she had it. As far as her wrestling, her look, everything. So I've become a big fan of Hikaru Shida. I have a hard time pronouncing her name, but I'm a fan. So I'm going with Thunder and Hikaru. Thunder is also a sweetheart. I saw her at an AEW show, and she said nice to me. She said nice things. She liked my Macho Man Randy Savage shirt that I was wearing at the time. Nice lady. She also runs Mission Pro Wrestling in Florida. Now we get to the main card. I'm going by this listing that I got from the Bleacher Report, so I don't know if these matches are in order, reverse order, or whatever. But they have Pac and Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo. I have a heart. Sorry, Andrade El Idolo. I mean, So yeah, I get it. They make his name very, Spanish or Mexican, just to Latino him up, which is fine. Um, it's an interesting match. I mean, it's a really interesting match. Pac has a history of not showing up for pay-per-views. I think it's happened 2 or 3 times where Pac was supposed to be on a pay-per-view and he didn't make it. So, in any event, hopefully he'll be there tonight. But I mean, you heard it here first. If Pac doesn't show up again for this pay-per-view, at least twice he's had that problem. Cody is in this interesting thing where he was such a babyface for the first year and a half of AEW. People genuinely liked the guy because they gave him a lot of props for this AEW even being here. But I think the overexposure, the being on the TV shows with Snoop Dogg, having the kid, having the dog, having the wife, it's just been too much Cody. And now there's been a negative reaction. That all being said, one thing I like to think about with these pro wrestling matches is if they're doing logical booking is which side of the match needs the victory more and which side of the match, if they win the match, does more for the promotion. And I don't really know about this one. I mean, it's almost like it could go either way. But I think that Andre especially needs more victories, even in a tag match. He hasn't really been used very well. I think once again, Cody and Pac could have that push and shove thing where they don't gel well as a team. They blame each other. And then you have a Pac versus Cody thing. Although I know I just said that for the pre-show thing with Nyla and Jamie, but I don't know. I guess I'm going more with Malachi Black and Andre. I think they're a better unit than Pac and Cody. It's just my opinion. I could be wrong. And we have another tag match. So, Bleacher Report listed this. I don't know if this listing is proper or not, but we have my buddy Ian's checking in. Good to see you there, Ian. I could even invite you on this podcast, Ian, if you're set up to do a little pre-show. If you're up for it, let me know. Just put a yay or nay in the comments, and I'll get you on real quick if I can figure it out. Yeah, you're right. Plus, Pac is part of the Death Triangle. Yeah, so I mean, hopefully it could be another push and shove thing with Pac and Cody. I was saying I'm kind of predicting that with Nyla and Jamie that they lose and blame each other. So we couldn't see that more than once, hopefully in the same night. But we'll see, buddy. And then we go to Falls Count Anywhere 6-man tag. This is my low-key kind of favorite match for the night, like what I'm looking forward to. Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express against Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Well, okay, buddy. Ian's not available, so I'm just on my own there, folks. It's okay. So then the Falls Count Anywhere. Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy against Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. And Ian agrees with me, probably going to steal the show. That's how I'm kind of feeling about this thing. For some reason, I just think that it's going to be a wild 6-man. You have 6 very competent guys in this match. And if the little fellow, what's his dick, jumps in, the little guy, it'd be interesting. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of things that these guys can do. I think Christian Cage is a great quarterback or an elder statesman for this match. He's been through stuff. I mean, he was doing the TLC matches back in 2000 or, you know what I mean? So that's very interesting. D-Box, lost you. Gee whiz. Sorry, guys. D-Box hopping in. He agrees with something with the stealing of the show. I think you're talking about D-Box. Nice to see you, D-Box. We've got some new comments. Good review. Did you get your picks in for the Wrestling Fans pay-per-view predictions contest? Actually, I was looking for it, Shane, but I couldn't find it. I was digging around. Let's see. So Ian's sending me messages. That's good, Ian. Good review. I didn't get the picks in yet, buddy. I'll try to find it, but I was trying to find them in the Wrestling Fans, Shane, but I couldn't find them. We move forth. Who am I predicting to win this thing? Well, the Young Bucks lost their belts, the tag team titles. Wow, I bought into it. I said their belts. They lost the tag team belts at the last pay-per-view. And that being the case, I think the Young Bucks need it more. Like I just gave you my equation. Which side of the match needs the victory more? And who does the victory go to better? Christian Cage and Jurassic. Wow, fuck. I mean, they were kind of doing the same thing here. The partners turning on each other. They were doing that initially with Christian, and so yeah, D-Box predicting the 6-man tag. They were doing that before. Christian Cage and Jungle Boy had like the tension because Christian Cage got like the Miss Elizabeth thing on Luchasaurus's shoulders. Remember that? Like if you go back to WrestleMania 4 and Hogan putting Liz on the shoulder, Luchasaurus put Christian in the Liz spot, believe it or not. But they've kind of killed that, and they've just become a society of baby faces, the mid-card baby face. There's a lot of units and teams like the Best Friends unit, the Luchasaurus unit. I'm not sure how Christian fits into the Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy thing. Marco Stunt, I forgot his little fucking name. It'd be fun to see Marco Stunt go through a fucking ceiling or get put through a fucking paper shredder or a ceiling fan, like something where Marco Stunt. I'm thinking of that fucking guy who does this is all for the juggalos and the juggalettes. Don't try this home, and I hope you like it. Hoop hoop, the human stunt fuck, the human stunt man. Like if they could do something with Luchasaurus, I'm sorry, like with Marco Stunt, like doing that guy's stuff, he might be tolerable. Anyway, who am I predicting? Fuck. I guess I'm predicting the Young Bucks and fucking Whistledick. Adam Cole. The funny thing is, like, Adam Cole, he makes, like, the Jacksons look bigger, like Nick and Matt Jackson, because I think they're actually bigger than him. But I have mixed feelings about Adam Cole. I mean, yes, he's undersized, but he is he's a really great talent. It's just a weird thing with Adam Cole to me. Like, it's like, and not to be a manipulator of size or anything, but if he was, 5 inches taller and 40 pounds heavier, he'd be the best wrestler in the world. But I don't know. It's weird to me. What could I say? I mean, I think about if Hawk and Animal came back from the dead. I mean, even if they didn't, they could probably beat up the Young Bucks and Adam Cole. Darby Allin versus MJF. This was D-Bac's choice, I believe, or actually it was Ian Patrick Gagnon's choice. And yeah, it's going to be a good match. What's interesting about this card, guys, is like, as far as on paper, and I literally have this thing on paper, there is not a lot of what you would call like surprises. You know what I mean? Like, we're not getting CM Punk's first match back. Unless we get Bray Wyatt or Cult of Wyndham, coming in, that might be a big surprise. But there's nothing that the internet is brewing about that, oh my God, this surprise is on its way, or we have this novelty thing. It's just kind of straight up AEW action. Darby Allin versus MJF. I agree. Once again, okay, here's the thing. The difference between what I think will happen and what I would do if I were the promoter. If I were the promoter, I'd have Darby go over. I'd have Darby actually win the fucking match over MJF. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to have MJF steal a fucking victory. D-Back is thinking that too. So, yeah, it's like I'm torn, buddy. I'm torn because I think, I think what AEW will do is they'll have MJF win by cheating. But my official prediction, because what I want to happen is for little Darby Allin to win. So I'm going to say Darby is my prediction, but deep down, I kind of know that MJF is winning this thing. Does that make any sense? I'd rather see Darby fucking win, but I just think he lost to CM Punk last time. He made CM Punk look like $1 million. I think they fucking owe it to him to give him a victory. And I think this, but MJF has lost a few matches. He lost to Jericho. Here's a drink. He hasn't lost a lot, but he's lost. What's next? CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Oh, I'm sorry. The Minneapolis Street Fight, the Inner Circle versus the Men of the Year, and the UFC crew, the Dan Albert, or what's his fucking name? The Dan fucking, what's his dick? The fucking MMA guys. I do like his references to the Boston Crab and the real Rocky Johnson, with the Boston Crab and so forth. So that's going to be an exciting match. What's his fucking name? Dan Albert or whatever the fuck, the coach guy. I think it's one of those things where if you remember WrestleMania 3, Danny Davis getting the pin over, I believe, Dynamite Kid in the 6-man tag. Thanks, D-Back. Dan Lambert, exactly. So I think this is one of those things. if the heels, if the men of the year, I guess it's the UFC guys, if they win this thing over the Inner Circle, then this feud will go on. And if the Inner Circle win, then this is a one and done, because the Inner Circle have to come out of this on top. However, if they want this to go a little bit further, if they want the PR, the smart move is to have the heels win. The best thing to do is have Dan Lambert pin Chris Jericho. If that happens, you know that there'll be a rematch at a future pay-per-view with all these fucks. So I'm going to go with the UFC guys. I'm going to go with Lambert pinning Jericho because I think they're going to try to drag this thing out. If it goes the other way, if Jericho's team gets the victory, if Jericho gets the submission over Lambert especially, then this is the payoff. This is the final thing. I do have to say, though, Paige fucking Van Zant has been looking hot as goddamn fuck in all this. I mean, she's a natural for wrestling. If she was smart, she'd get out of her fucking UFC or her MMA or Bellator, whatever the fuck she's doing. She'd hop on over and just be a full-time wrestling chick because she looks better than most of the chicks in the fucking wrestling world, to be honest with you. Oh my God. What else? The night is falling on me, buddy. Okay, so then we go to CM Punk, Eddie Kingston. Okay, guys, if you're still with me, who are you picking on this one, CM Punk or Eddie Kingston? Once again, what will they probably do? If you had to bet your life on it, you'd probably say they're probably going to have CM Punk win. If Mike was the booker, if I was the booker, I'd have fucking Eddie Kingston win. Why? Because we don't really need CM Punk in the title picture right now. We don't have to have both CM Punk and Bryan Danielson steamrolling everybody. What we need is to elevate some guys that Eddie's just been hovering around. I mean, I'll give Cornette credit. Eddie Kingston does everything but win matches. You know, Eddie Kingston has the fans in his corner. He's emotional. People relate to him. He takes medications. He's biracial, which is exciting in today's world. And yet he continues to lose. So I don't know what they're holding off on, because you can only lose so much before you become nothing. I mean, Eddie lost the last pay-per-view to Miro, and so he lost to Bryan Danielson in the tournament. I'm very good about using his Bryan Danielson name now. So I kind of think D-Back's saying I'm going with Punk, but personally I want Kingston, and I agree, D-Back, and that's where I'm headed with this. If I was smart, if I was running the fucking game, running the AEW booking committee, even if I was CM Punk, I'd put Eddie Kingston over. He needs it more. If you look at these two guys, who needs the victory more? If Eddie wins this thing, he's a player. If he loses, he's a bum. So, in a rigged world where wins and losses don't really matter on some level, and some letter they do. And this one, I think Eddie's got to win this thing. Otherwise, he's sunk. You know, or maybe he's not sunk, but he's just Eddie Kingston. If he loses, he's just back to being Eddie. They could do the deal where he loses, but then he attacks him after the bell. But we've seen that a million fucking times. I think Eddie Kingston needs to win this match. I'd like to see Eddie Kingston win this match. I don't think it's going to hurt Punk at all. I think that the payoff for Punk, if he does lose, is that they just do a nice rematch at some point. So I'm going with Eddie Kingston. You know, once again, it's kind of like the same thing with MJF and Darby. The smart money's on MJF. The smart money's on Punk. But I'm predicting, for the fuck of it, Darby and Eddie. Here we go. The night has fallen upon me quick, which I wasn't planning on. The tag team championships. Ooh, I forgot about this match. I don't know if they've hyped it. I guess they did this week. Yeah, because they had some beatdowns. They had a lot of like beatdowns this week. WrestleMania, in their video, they kind of talked about that. Too many beatdowns this week. Let's see, D-Back. I don't think it would hurt Punk if he lost, but I don't think it hurts Kingston either. Well, here's the thing, D-Back. What I'm saying is it would help Kingston more if he were to win somehow. If Punk wins, it doesn't, I mean, we expect Punk to win. But if Kingston wins, now we've kind of elevated a guy. And you haven't really hurt Punk, because that would be an interesting first loss. However, if Punk wins and Eddie loses, then it's back to the mid-card you go, Eddie. And like, you know, I give Cornette credit, Eddie doesn't win. Reminds me of Samoa Joe, you know, 5 or 6 years ago in WWE. He talks a great game, everybody's into his character, and then he fucking loses all the time. So there you have it. What's next? Oh boy, where's my light? Oh boy. Oh, for Christ's sake. Oh God. So do I have any light in here, for Christ's sake? Where's all my lights? This is horrible. Well, let's just do this. Thanks, buddy. He definitely agrees. Where's my lights? All right. Okay, we're fine. My car is fine. But I can't see a goddamn thing. What's next here, gentlemen? So I'm going with the Lucha Brothers and FTR. They don't have good chemistry from what I've seen. These are like two of my favorite tag teams. I really like both of these teams, but I don't think they work well together. I'm hoping that they pull something off tonight. It's a little early for the Lucha Brothers to lose the belts, and the FTR already have that tag team belt, the AAA belts. For whatever reason, I'm going to predict FTR. It doesn't seem like the Lucha Brothers have been terribly active unless I've been missing something. They got the belts. I don't think they're on TV a lot. Sometimes they do promos, but I'm going to go with FTR to win the belts. I wouldn't be surprised if FTR drops the AAA tag belts to the Lucha Brothers in the future to mix things up, but I'm going to go with FTR for the tag title victory. I like both teams. I just don't know if it's going to be a good match, to be honest with you, because I think they wrestled once before. They didn't have good chemistry. The women's title, Dr. Britt Baker versus Tay Conti. Look, Tay Conti is definitely a very attractive woman. She's cute. She's personable. I mean, her and Anna Jay are just too cute for words. Babyface girls, very pretty, very attractive. Does Tay Conti as a fucking women's champion do anything for anybody? I don't really know. I mean, I hate to say it, but Tay Conti is a great talent, but she's kind of eye candy. And I don't know if she needs to be champion. And I'm going to go with Dr. Britt. I just think that the Dr. Britt machine hasn't worn off quite yet. I'm going to stick with the champ. Dr. Britt Baker, DDS. I hope Shivani keeps himself under control. The tournament final and then the world title match. I think these things go hand in hand, folks, meaning that one is dependent on the other for the result. And I'm thinking that Bryan Danielson, kind of like a CM Punk thing, if they just have him beat everyone in AEW, what's the point? And they also did this thing last night on Rampage in the vignette. They kind of planted it so that you're getting the vibe that Miro is the one guy Bryan Danielson can't beat. And they do that sometimes in wrestling. Like, oh, here's the one guy that this guy can't beat. He's the one guy who gives me trouble in the ring. The one guy I can't beat, like Roman couldn't beat Brock. And there's been other things like that. So for this, if they have Miro win tonight, then that's the guy that Bryan Danielson can't beat. You finally lost a fucking match. I think it'll be more interesting if Bryan loses and Punk loses. Wouldn't that be interesting? So I'm going to go with Miro. And then the main event, Adam Page versus Kenny Omega. World title on the line. I didn't watch Full Gear last year. I kind of realized that. Like, I never saw their match against each other, and I didn't see Cody lose his fucking TNT title to Darby. I'm going to predict Hangman Page wins this thing. I feel, in my opinion, that if Hangman Page doesn't win tonight, it's like pull the trigger or not. You got to give the guy a chance, because if you just have him lose or even get a screw job loss for Hangman Page, I think there's going to be too much. You can't lose all the fucking time. I mean, we get it. The matches are scripted. They're predetermined. We understand that. But still, some guys have to fucking win. You know what I mean? Like, you can't always lose and expect the character or the persona or the wrestler to have stock forever. So I'm going to go with fucking Hangman Page for the victory, which takes us to a program between Miro and Hangman. And I could be wrong, but I think the next AEW pay-per-view in 2022 isn't till like February. So they probably would just put this thing, Miro versus Hangman, like wait 3 or 4 weeks and put it on some type of special, show on Dynamite or Rampage, or maybe the first night they go over to TNT would be interesting. I don't think they can wait, is my point. You can't wait all the way to the next pay-per-view for this Miro versus Hangman match. And we get another comment here from our buddy. I'm thinking Adam pulls it off, but I will not be surprised if Omega wins. I'm assuming you're saying. I agree. Yeah, I mean, and like if Hangman doesn't win tonight, it's like why? Because he needs to fucking change diapers and he needs to be on call for that. I mean, no offense, we get it. Yes, congratulations, you had a wonderful child, but the AEW fucking schedule is not that hard. It's not that tough. So he doesn't need to be home, you know, and it gives him a good excuse to leave the home and let his wife change the diapers, let her do all the work. I mean, she's the one that had the baby. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm just pulling for. I think Hangman, either you win it tonight or you're never going to fucking win it. I think they have to kind of change this thing up of Bryan Danielson, excuse me, and CM Punk winning all the fucking time. They have to change that, so to speak, because they just do. I mean, you can't have those fucking guys win every fucking time. So those are my predictions, folks. Check in later tonight if I still have any energy in my body, my broken down body. I'll be doing a rant for Monty and the Pharaoh based on the show. The Monty and the Pharaoh. You can find my AEW apologist rants. Some of you have been. I understand, buddy. I've been trying to fix your misspellings on the Audible. Sorry, the screen on my phone is cracked and I'm misspelling shit. I understand, buddy. I've been there. So what you need is like the case that I have for my phone has a fucking cover to it, which is wonderful. I'd show you, but the fucking case is on the goddamn phone right now. But my phone has a fucking cover to it. Now my lights in my car are not working, which I'm upset about. Hopefully my engine's not dead and I'm stranded here in the middle of nowhere before this pay-per-view. But in any event, yeah, I think it'll be a good show. I think if there's any surprises, you know, points would lead to, I mean, all these releases from WWE. Braun Strowman's available, perhaps, and Cult of Wyndham, you know, Wyndham Rotundo, and all these other fucks. I guess in more wrestling news, Chelsea Green's so excited to announce that she'll be posing for Playboy. Very 1998 of you, Chelsea. Very good. I don't know how I feel about that. I read some article on No DQ or somewhere, Wrestling 4111 or whatever the fuck, and just Chelsea Green just talking about herself and how she had all these ideas for her character and how the hot mess character, you know, could have been used in WWE, but they've taken elements of her character for, okay, Chelsea, we get it. Why do these fucking wrestlers go to the WWE if they're just going to be fucked up and ruined? I mean, they've seen the goddamn pattern, haven't they? I want to see if my car starts, gentlemen. I'm very nervous. Jesus, fuck. All right. Well, that's it, folks. I'm going to sign off. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. We'll check in later, guys. Thank you very much.